First one, the golden rule, as you said, of civility: treat others the way you would want to be treated. Two, be kind. We could all do with kindness and politeness. It doesn't cost much. And I post a lot about kindness because at the end of the day, that's what etiquette is about. Okay? And good manners, how you talk to people, how you treat other people, how you behave towards other people. All of those things are essential. And then I think the third thing that I would add to that is not to be too judgmental or critical of other people.
Welcome to Ailey Fashion Lovers Chat Show, a platform where we get to empower our community, and we also invite professionals, business owners to come and share their knowledge and skills in order to empower our community. In today's episode, I'll be speaking to Mrs. Laura Akano. She is an etiquette expert, etiquette coach. She is brilliant in everything she does. She'll be talking to us about social media etiquette online. So what are the precautions we need to take whenever we are online? And she dived into loads of things in there. So stay tuned to keep on watching. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do. That would enable you to see more empowerment video that we always release on this very platform. So stay tuned to keep on watching. Good afternoon, Mrs. Akano.
Good afternoon, Ellie. Thanks for inviting me today.
Welcome to Ailey Fashion Lovers Chat Show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for accepting the invite to come to our platform to come and share your skills and your knowledge with our community. I really appreciate your effort for doing that.
You're very welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
The reason why you're here today is for you to come and enlighten us about social media etiquette online. So I would let you do the talking. So firstly, would you please tell my audience what you do?
Hello, everyone. I'm Laura Akano, and I'm an etiquette and social skills coach. And basically what that means is that I help children and young people develop their soft skills or social skills, if you will, through etiquette training so that people know how to conduct themselves in different environments, whether professionally or socially, going to places and just knowing how to interact with other people.
Oh, brilliant. So I've got 5 questions for you, and I'm gonna throw you one now. Will that be okay with you?
Yes, that's why I'm here.
Let's go for it. So the first question is, what is a social media etiquette skills?
Well, social media etiquette skills are simply the rules of etiquette that apply when you're online. And it's a guide as to how to behave, how to conduct yourself when you're online. That's, in a simplistic sense, that's how I would describe it. So it's a guide to behavioral expectations, maybe how to post, what to post, and just generally how to handle your social media platforms and what is appropriate, what isn't. And I know that each platform, from Facebook to Twitter to LinkedIn, Instagram, they all have certain guidelines for everybody that uses the platform. So in a nutshell, that's what social media etiquette is. And if you want to encompass all of that, there's a new word within the etiquette world that is called netiquette. And that's all to do with social media etiquette, email etiquette, and just really a guide for people as to the conduct of behavior that is expected.
Okay, wow, this is quite a handful here. Could you share with me the example of the behavior you're talking about that we have to portray when online?
Well, I think starting off, the word civility. And civility is about how you treat other people. It's about respect. It's about kindness. It's about showing courtesy, care, and consideration for other people when you're online. So when people post things, are you thinking, what's the essence of your post? Why are you posting whatever it is that you're posting? So the behavior that would be expected is that are you posting something that's educational? Is it informative? Is it helpful to other people? Also, on the other side, you need to think, what I'm posting, can it hurt someone or a certain group of people? You might want to really step back and think before pushing that button or pressing it, that, okay, what I'm about to post, how would other people perceive it? So that there's so many things you really need to think about, and people just think, oh, I'm just going to go online, a rush of adrenaline, something comes to your mind, you type and you post it, and probably 10 seconds or 20 seconds later you're regretting that. So it's really about courteous behavior, treating other people the way you would like to be treated. Speaking in a way, we're speaking to other people when we post. So at the end of the day, you need to think, if I was in front of that person, if I was face to face with them, what I've just posted, or would I be able to say it verbally if I was in front of them?
Wow.
And a lot of people a lot of what they post or comment about on other people's posts, they cannot say it physically to their face. And so I often say, if you know, particularly to the young people, if you know something that you're going to post online or you're going to share, if it's not something you truly believe in or something you know that you cannot repeat, or you wouldn't have the courage to say if you were standing in front of that person, then why would you do it just because you have a screen in front of you? So you really need to behave on social media, as far as I'm concerned anyway, the same way that you would behave if you were in the same room with people. In saying that, some people would say, well, if I want to be rude to people, even if it's face to face, I'll be rude to them. But at the end of the day, rude behavior, whether it's face to face or online, does not speak well of the individual concerned. It's not really the way a mature person should be behaving. So at the end of the day, being rude on social media or being rude to people face to face does not really do you any good, does not earn you any credits.
Wow, this is magical. So my other question for you. So my other question is, how should people behave online when communicating with people?
Okay. People should behave with kindness, firstly, and with respect. I think those are the two key things. And as I mentioned before, the golden rule of civility says, if people I've never heard of it, it's treat others the way you want to be treated. And that means if you see someone's posts, maybe you don't agree with what they've posted or you don't like their ideas, scroll on. I often say that. Or unfollow that person. There's a saying that you don't have to turn up for every argument that you're invited to. And it's the same here. You don't agree with something someone's posted, you don't like it, scroll on or unfollow the person. Then you don't see their post anymore. I don't know why nowadays people feel the sense of entitlement to comment about every topic or other people's posts and every subject. And it really is it's just not right. It's just not acceptable. And it's not the way to be. There's so many problems around the world that I think online civility is so important. So in terms of behaving online, think about what you're posting. Be careful even what you post about. A lot of people, personal lives or other people's lives, and writing about other people's posts, even simple things like you take a picture with other people or you attend an event and then you go online, you post a group picture or someone in a compromised position and you post about them online and literally shame them. That's not acceptable behavior. Another thing I find, particularly with my business page, I find is people seem to tag me on their own posts and things. And that's actually not correct social media etiquette. If you're going to tag people, you really should ask before tagging people. You shouldn't just tag people on post but I just accept it. I don't really say anything about it. But one of the things that you shouldn't really do is just take it for granted. Oh, I'm going to tag someone, or you use someone's content or something without giving them credit for it. That's another thing not acceptable. And again, social media, is it useful? Is it helpful? Can someone learn from it? Am I going to hurt someone's feeling? Am I going to get someone upset or angry? Then in that case, perhaps you shouldn't be posting about it. And another thing people, I think, should avoid is when you're angry, or sometimes people, maybe they've had 1 or 2 glasses of wine and they're not, fully coherent, and they go and, get on their keyboard and, they're annoyed with someone and they type something. And then the following day they think, oh my goodness, why did I put that online? So that you really need to be very aware of what you're posting, because the way you might see something, other people might misinterpret it. And that can happen quite a lot as well. So you really do need to spend time to think. And if you're angry with someone, social media is not where you should go and call them out or shame them for whatever reason. Who benefits from it? No one. And I find that people who do things like that, it's more a reflection of you as a person than the person you're trying to shame, So the same way we all like to be treated with respect, with kindness, with courtesy, that's the same way you need to treat other people on social media. It doesn't matter because you're on a keyboard behind a screen and you feel that you can just do whatever you like. No, it's not. And sometimes these things come back to haunt you.
Wow. Do you know, this example which you've just talked about reminds me of a friend of mine. I mean, she had another friend, so we're kind of like 3 friends. So I don't know what happened. For a reason, they kind of fell apart. But by mistake, I wouldn't say by mistake, she did told me that she has typed something online that probably, like, just in trying to insult the other person indirectly and almost directly. So I never knew. I mean, I have never heard of your part of this story before, but in my head I just mentioned to her that, look, if I were you, I wouldn't take the issue like this. I'd rather probably call my friend aside and find a way to resolve it, rather than just kind of overexposing personal talk, friendship talk. So it's quite interesting that you've mentioned this very topic again, which is, I find it very useful.
Yeah, you're correct. I mean, it's like washing your dirty linen in public. If you've got a issue with a friend or someone you follow, if you're close enough to them, then settle, have a chat offline and settle it. If it's someone that you don't know, that you follow, and you just feel, oh, I don't like what they've just said about a certain group or something, don't like the post or unfollow them if you don't like their content, or block them. Thankfully we have those facilities to do that. So it, I don't see what the problem is. Even with my presence online, and I'm not the greatest fan of social media. I use it and it's a useful tool, particularly if you're using it correctly. And even then, with my business, I've had maybe a couple of times people have come on and said some things, and maybe the one I may have politely responded and then blocked them. The other one, I just actually did not feel it was worth engaging in, because based on what was written, I could see this is just not someone I want to engage with. So I just deleted and blocked. And everybody's going to get that at some point. Maybe some people more than others. Depends on what things you get up to online, what sort of posts you like, what your agenda is. Then some people might have more problems in those kind of situations than others. But really, that's not what social media is there for. And personal issues, personal life should remain as personal as possible. So people need to think, oh, she said something. Even if somebody says something about you that you don't like online, as I said, if you can have a chat with them offline and sort it out. But what you don't want to be doing is trading insults online. And we've seen it with maybe leaders, political leaders. We've seen it with celebrities. And I just think this is so embarrassing. Do they not have any morals, integrity? Do they not have any shame? And unfortunately, this is what the young people are seeing and thinking it's okay to behave like that, because yes, so-and-so leader or so-and-so people they kind of look up to, if they can behave like this and they get away with it, then why can't we? And this is why this is one of my very important topics when I'm working with teenagers in particular, because they need to learn online behavior. And as I said, this sort of things can come back to haunt you. You might post things when you're younger. We've seen it with a lot of leaders and journalists sometimes, or high profile people, where maybe when they were teenagers they had some really weird ideas or things they did, and it could affect careers, it could affect job prospects, college prospects later, because all of these things stay online. Quite often it can be found later. So behavior online is just as important as behavior in the real world. And I often say to the students, the digital world is the real world. There is no difference, because you're dealing with human beings, you're dealing with human emotions at the same time. The only difference is you're not face to face.
Wow, this is quite intensive, Yeah, you mentioned you teach the younger generation how to be mindful about their digital footprint.
Yes, to be.
I can remember, I can recollect that BBC talked about this very topic recently as well, because they're trying to educate the younger generation how to be mindful online. So it's quite educational, listening, hearing more from you as well about it.
Yes, the digital footprint, I don't know if there's a huge awareness amongst parents and young people at the moment, but as we know, anything you post online, as long as you're using the internet, whether you post something, whether you share, whether you like something, or even searching, anything you do online leaves a digital footprint. Basically, it's a trail of your activities online. Now, that's good if you're doing positive things. You're getting involved and commenting and sharing and researching positive things. But if you're the type that posts negative things and looking into activities that probably aren't so legitimate and good, then again, all of these things can be found if people want to really dig into your background and see, what kind of things do they post, what kind of things do they like, what are their views on certain things. Most things that we do online can be traced, can be found. So the question I tend to put to the young people is, do you want to leave a positive digital footprint or a negative one? Either way, it's part of your brand, it's part of who you are, and you're saying, this is who I am, because based on your activities online, based on what you like, what you post, what you share, people can form an opinion about you. So if you've applied for scholarship or to college or a particular job, quite often employers can, especially if you're not the one that cares so much about settings and security settings, then they can often find out information about you. So if you're the teenager that's always abusive, using rude language, getting involved in arguments and debates with people online, they're going to form an opinion by what they see online about you. And if you're the one that's fundraising for your local community, volunteering, helping, supporting other people, they can see that as well. So people can look at your page, and I've experienced that with particularly my business page. People will come on, and quite a few times, I've lost count now, but a number of people who I don't know, I've just often commented, oh, we always love reading your posts. It's so thoughtful, it's so kind, and it encourages us. So again, you want to think about what kind of image do you want to give to people? And 10 years down the line, someone's come to look for you online. What are they going to find about you? So it's very important what your digital footprint is. And one of the suggestions I make to the young people, I might have posted about it as well before, is even as adults, put in your name online every now and then, or your business name or brand name, whatever. Put your name online and see what comes up. And then if maybe you need to make some adjustments to what it is, because if what comes up, you think, oh my goodness, I can't remember doing that, or that does not look good, then you've got some work to do. But rather than having to do that, to now work on damage limitation, it's better to learn from a young age to make sure that you're leaving a positive digital footprint.
Okay, when you say learn from a young age, what sort of age would you recommend we start educating children or people, the youngsters start learning? What sort of age would you say?
Well, I don't know, because each parent has their own rules, or when they feel it's right for their child to go online. I've known some not family members, but friends who their 8 or 9-year-old was on, I can't remember whether TikTok or one of these platforms, and I was horrified because she was only 9 or something like that. But you will find that most of the social media platforms say age 13 is the minimum to have an account, because that's something I've looked into. Minimum age is 13. And even at 13, I don't think children should be online, to be honest with you, because they're not mature enough to, I think, deal with some of the emotional issues that can come. We're all aware of teenagers and even adults who've committed suicide because of things that have been posted or said about them online. So sometimes even I feel that children generally, even at 13, are not ready, especially because they're not really aware of exactly what the behavioral expectations are, what they should or shouldn't do, unless they've had people to sit them down and go through it. But age 13, okay, they might get online, and then it's for the parents to look at it. What are they doing? What do they have access to? I know a lot of parents now, okay, if I'm going to let you go on this particular platform, I'm going to be following you, so that they can monitor. But then, as we've learned also with teenagers, they then learn to have the accounts that their parents don't even know about. So at the end of the day, I think the key thing is the educating them on knowing what is acceptable behavior. And a lot of it has to do, not just family, but the morals, the integrity that you teach them. Is it okay to pick on someone online, or because they've posted something you don't agree with? Is it okay to now start trolling them, now being abusive, being rude? Those things are not acceptable, and it's that kind of behavior that we need to get away from. You don't agree with it, don't comment. You don't someone's trolling you or saying rude things, block them, delete the post. There are ways to go about these things to a degree, but a lot of it is education about what is acceptable, what isn't, and thinking, would I want other people to maybe write about me like this, or treat me the way I'm treating other people, But as I said, a lot of adults are guilty because of the examples that the young people can see.
So you mean we should create more awareness relating to
Yes.
this very topic?
Yes, and the effects it can also have mentally, and also the effect it can have on their future.
Hmm. So mentally, psychologically, and physically as well.
It's very important because a group of young people I'm working with at the moment, and one of them said to me a couple of weeks ago, "Ah, everybody always seems so happy and jolly on social media." I said, yes, it's true, but don't buy that at all, because not everybody's life is perfect. She said, yes, in year 7 I believe that, but now I'm in year 11, I know it's not true. That everything always seems to be so, people always see, pictures and nice things that they're doing. I said, no, it's a lot of it is fake. I said there are real people that would post genuinely and say things. I said, but the majority of people, and as long as you know that, then that helps you to know that there's nothing wrong with your life. There's nothing wrong with your way of life. Nobody is living that perfect life. And we had a good discussion about it, because this were a group of year 10s and year 11. So again, um, it's about being realistic as well, and not, the glamorous side of everyday life, when we all know that that is not how most people live.
I am so impressed about this very case study you've just put forward here. Let me give you an example. When I was growing up, I always think, how come do we have mixed feelings about life? It's because I don't understand it. It's never been spoken or talked about. So I thought probably I wasn't good enough, which led me to start reading a lot of psychological books because I love anything relating to psychology. So recently, I discovered a movie called Inside Out. So this is done by Disney. Is it Disney? Disney World, Disney film or something. So it's called Inside Out. I watched that movie. I was highly impressed. So this movie got to talk about the mixed emotion which people usually have. So they made it known that it's okay for us to be happy. It's okay if we feel sad at the same time, and it's
Yes.
okay if we feel hungry. It's just a way of getting to know ourselves and how to tone it down when you realize the anger is about to come up. So when I discovered this movie, I was so impressed. So I got to know that it's not that I was faulty, I've got faulty, faulty brain or something. So this very topic wasn't really talked about even in my country. You don't talk about people's people's the way we think in life. No. So I am quite impressed you came up with that very case study. So yeah, really good. Thank you very much for this.
Thank you. Yes, it's very important to manage your emotions, and as I said earlier, one of the things you definitely don't do, especially if you're upset or something's happened or you're angry, whether at life or other people, that is not the time to post. That is the time to calm down. And speaking to this young group of students, they actually said they've learned that, yes, it's very important that when you're angry, that's not the time to post or to react, even in everyday life. That's not the time to react, because chances are 10-15 minutes later you think, oh, I'm happy I didn't do that. I'm happy I didn't post that, or I'm happy I didn't say that to that person. So we were working basically on how they can manage their emotions, and that I was saying to them about, sometimes if you're really angry and you feel like you're going to burst, walk away, calm down, and then maybe you can come back to that conversation or that person or whatever it was you were going. I said, particularly with posting, that's not the time to react. That's the time to walk away. If a day or two later you still think, I want to say something about this, there might be a different way that you will put it that would not come across as offensive. So it's a valid emotion to have if you're angry, if you're upset about something, but now it's how you manage it.
Wow. Wow, thank you very much. I really love this topic. It's quite, do I say informative, educational? I like it so much. So our other question is, for instance, when we have a negative comment, say maybe you posted something funny, and somebody on the other way around just posted something negative about it. How should one react about this?
Okay, I mean, with that, it depends on what they've posted. So for instance, with what I do, if I talked about maybe children having good table manners and teaching them how to sit at the table or how to use their cutlery, and someone comes on and say, oh, you stupid woman, my children can eat however they want to, don't tell me how to raise my children. Wow. Chances are I wouldn't actually respond to it. Okay, chances are I might not respond to it, or I might think that, okay, depending on how it's worded, that this is just advice to help children so that they can socialize better, because at the end of the day, they're not going to be with you all the time. They're going to go into the world. And so what you as a parent might accept, other people might not accept. And that the reason that came to my mind is I've had something similar like that. And that's kind of how I responded to the person. Okay. So it's not about telling you how to raise your child. I mean, as I said, some children, I call them organic children who are grown in an organic way. They're wild, they're free, and it's great if that's what you want for your children. But then, if they continue to live in that organic wild world, it's fine. But if they need to come and mix with other people who are perhaps more poised and more polished, then there's going to be a problem. So at the end of the day, it depends on the way it's worded and the negativity. Sometimes it's just not worth responding at all, especially if you feel that you also might react angrily or negatively, then it's not worth responding, just ignoring it. And depending on how bad it is, sometimes it's worth just blocking people. Delete the post and just block them, so that you don't have any more interactions with them. But what you really should not do is do tit for tat. Oh, they criticized me, they said this, and I'm going to give them back and say this and say that and insult them. It already is showing that you yourself, you're not a person who can sort of manage their emotions, if I would put it that way. And you probably lower yourself to their level as well, which you really don't want to do. And I think also a lot of people who come online, whether they're trolls or just love putting other people down, posting rude things and rude comments, I actually, to a degree, tend to feel sorry for people like that, because I often look at it that they must have some issues. There must be some things going on to make someone so awful and so nasty online. I often think they must have some issues to be that nasty, to feel it's okay to behave in the way they do. So again, that's just the way I look at it sometimes, that actually I almost feel sorry for you if you feel that sort of vitriol or language or abuse, it's okay to dish out onto people.
This is really good. This etiquette we're talking about, have they got us in the educational, say, syllabus?
I'm not sure if they do. I know, because online bullying, it's basically social media etiquette and all this trolling and things, it is online bullying. So, and I know a lot of schools do cover aspects of bullying. How detailed it is, I'm not sure. But I know it's a big issue in schools, because it's not just bullying face-to-face when the children are in schools, and it's not just adults, even in workplaces. Bullying does go on, teasing, it goes on. So at the end of the day, what I don't know is how detailed it is, particularly in schools, because you've got bullying within the school premises, and then you've got bullying off the school premises, because online, a lot of the young people, they're online, and quite often, as I said, the schools and the parents, they don't know what's going on. It's when there's a problem, then the school finds out, then they bring the parents in and trying to sort it out. So I don't know how well the schools cover that in terms of expectations and what is right and what is wrong.
Wow, this is really good. I'm quite interested in this. One other question, I know it's not related to this, but I would love to ask you, is in, British educational syllabus, is there any way of like how they teach people that, it's okay for you to feel sad sometimes, to understand your
Yes,
emotion?
I believe it's maybe it didn't used to be such an important aspect of children's education, but I believe in recent years there's a lot more talk about um, mental health and helping children to manage their emotions. So it's becoming a topic that's been acknowledged a lot, and helping children with their feelings, especially if they've gone through trauma or grief and things like that. So I know it's something that they're working on, and helping children to be able to express how they feel and manage their emotions. But again, it's teaching them about the skills, the tools they need to be able to manage their emotions, when they're feeling happy, when they're feeling sad, and different types of emotions that they might experience. So it's about teaching them, or giving them the skills they need to be able to manage their emotions.
Wow. Thank you very much for this. Right.
Welcome.
Let's see. Where is our next question? Let's see our next question. Okay. So, have you got any 3 golden etiquette rules one should portray?
First one, the golden rule, as you said, of civility: treat others the way you would want to be treated. 2, be kind. We could all do with kindness and politeness. It doesn't cost much. And I post a lot about kindness, because at the end of the day, that's what etiquette is about. Okay? And good manners, how you talk to people, how you treat other people, how you behave towards other people. All of those things are essential. And then I think the third thing that I would add to that is not to be too judgmental or critical of other people, because we just seem to live in a world that everybody's got an opinion. We're so quick to judge, so quick to criticize, when you don't even know the person, you don't know the personality, you don't know the story behind whatever they've said, whatever they've done. Don't be too quick to jump on people or to criticize them. That's quite damaging. Because sometimes when people say, oh, they might post something, or you see something, oh, and they jump to conclusions, and then later you find out, oh, this is actually why. And I'm sure we've all done that. Don't be too critical. Don't be too quick to judge and to criticize.
Wow. So, would that be related to accepting that people are entitled to their opinion? Is that
People are
related?
entitled to their own opinion, as long as they're not affecting other people, as long as they're not inflicting pain and judgment on other people. Because
Okay.
at the end of the day, we are also different. We all have different ideas. We all have different beliefs. People believe in different causes and things. That's all well and fine, as long as it's not impacting other people's lives. It's not affecting other people's lives. So sometimes you have to learn to accept people for the way they are. But we are such a critical and judgmental society.
Wow. Thank you. Right. I know we have been talking about, I know we've been talking about how our youngsters, in terms of when they are growing up, how to behave online. But can I ask one other question? If you are a business owner how would you say, how should you behave when you receive a negative comment? How should you behave?
Okay. Well, as a business owner, as I said, I have received maybe a couple of negative comments. And again, you've worked hard to put your brand online. Maybe you're already known in a certain way for certain things. Now, you're not going to lose all of that because someone's posted a negative comment about your company or something you've posted. So again, you can engage, if it's possible to engage reasonably, to respond in without emotion. I think is one of the things when you're a business, because personally people tend to respond emotionally, or they've criticized my product or something. Sometimes you have to take a step back. Is what they're saying true? Is it honest? And if it is an honest, then you say, oh, I'm really sorry you feel that way. Even if they've been quite rude, I'm really sorry you feel that way. We would do something about it. And thank you for your comment. Accept it graciously. But sometimes if it's just malicious and people are just really being vindictive, then one, you have a choice not to respond and delete the post. Or if you are going to respond, then you really have to watch against being emotional. You really have to address the post as in a rational way, without making yourself look stupid or giving your brand a bad name. So again, when it comes to business, I think you need to remove the emotion and look at be objective and practical about how you're going to respond.
Keep it professional.
Yes, very important, because one post can undo all the the reputation you've built up, all the goodwill you've got. One post can wreck it.
Wow.
So as a business, it's very important to maintain that professional presence and not get into unnecessary arguments with people online. No.
Okay. Mrs. Akano, have you got any other tips you would like to give us again? Because with my experience about life, I know we need great mentor. Because from my perspective, I would count you as a mentor for upcoming generation and few other generations which you have been lecturing. So would you mind if I ask you, what are the tips? What kind of tips would you like to leave with us today again?
Okay, thank you. The tips I would like to leave, I think the main thing for me is patience when interacting with other people, whether online or in person. It's very important to be patient. It's very important to be kind and be respectful. Don't jump to conclusions. Don't assume, oh, they've posted something or said something about me, or they looked at me one way. You don't often know what might lie behind that person's behavior or the post or their attitude. And sometimes online in particular, you can misinterpret what someone says, perhaps because the way they've worded something or the choice of words sometimes that they use might actually, to you as a reader, have a different meaning to what they are trying to say. So again, that's where patience comes into it, that, perhaps it's just the way they worded it. And I've seen that as well, where people have put things and they come and say, no, that's not what I meant, and things like that. So again, it's about thinking before you post. And one of the things a tip that I give to the teenagers is, when you write a post, read it at least 3 times before you button.
Before you press that.
Because the first time you read it, oh yeah, you've done it. The second time, when you finish, you read it again, chances are you're looking at it. And I say they should apply that to email and all forms of communication. The second time, you're likely to think, oh, maybe I should change that word around, or, oh, actually, that's sounding not quite what I wanted to say. By the third time you're reading it, you may well find you change a lot more round. So I always say, try and read at least 3 times. And if it's a longer text, take your time. Don't be in a rush to press that button. Give your time to read it. Who are you posting it for as well? Would people misinterpret what I've written? Who is likely to see it? That's another point. Because if your employer or your school or your parents are going to see what you're posting, and even with adults as well, who is going to see it? Who is likely to see it? What impact might it have? If you're going to post, as I said, post something useful, something educational, informative that would help other people. If not, you don't have to post. And also, you don't have to comment on other people's posts. It's not compulsory, especially if you don't like them or you don't agree with the things they post about or who they are or what they stand for. You don't have to follow them. You don't have to like their posts. Also, think before sharing. The things you share are a reflection of who you are as well. So someone else has posted something. If you deemed it okay to share, then that's saying something about your character or your personality as well. So that's quite important.
Wow. I have a question for you. You know, these days that we are in a little, should I say, lockdown? You know, we have lots of children, lots of youngsters, even adults coming online so much this time. What would you say? What would you say to them? I mean, how would you say they should be cautious? Because, you know, now we have a higher rate of people online. What would you say to them?
So,
Online
well,
in general.
online in general, it's again the same things I've been saying. Be patient, be considerate, be respectful, be kind, and don't embarrass people. Oh, also don't embarrass yourself, because we've had instances of people being on Zoom and going off to use the loo, and everybody can see them, or you know, they're doing things that they really shouldn't be doing, or they're in their pajamas or wearing nothing on the lower half, and just so many things that people aren't aware, or they're online and they think their video can't be seen, or they're on mute and people can hear what they're saying, or the video's on and they, you know, something else is going on in the background, and you know, so avoid embarrassing yourself as well. That's quite important. But then this is the other thing I was saying earlier, shaming people. It's not nice. It is not nice, because when the first lockdown started, I don't know where it was, and I felt bad for this lady, and she obviously wasn't used to Zoom and online, and there were quite a number of them on this meeting, and she had gotten up to go and use the loo, and the people online could see her. They could see her, and people were sharing the clip. Now, someone on that platform, that meeting that day, obviously must have captured it and posted it online. Now, to me, that's just not right. That's actually quite a bad way to treat someone. If it was the other way, I think by accident she obviously didn't realize the video was on. But for you, because she wouldn't have posted it, she didn't post it, someone else posted it. So those kind of behavior is really not on. Just thinking, would I offend someone? Would I hurt someone? Why would I post something offensive about someone else? Why would I pick on someone else? Why would I post a picture that's not very flattering about someone? You need to think before you post. Very important. Think before you post. Think before you share. Does it give value to anybody? Does it embarrass someone? Does it shame someone? And as I said, calling people out on social media, I've so many instances. We've seen even celebrities doing that. Why? It says a lot about them as individuals than they realize. So just be respectful, be kind, show courtesy, be patient, and have some consideration for others. So that's what I would say.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Mrs. Akano, if you talked about you're a coach, so could you tell me what are the courses you coach people about, and if people want to probably relate to you or get in contact with you, how can they go about it?
Okay, as I said in the beginning, I offer etiquette uh, tutorials to children and adults and teenagers, any age group. And we learn all about social etiquette, from dining etiquette to business etiquette. When you're representing your company, we cover email etiquette, greetings, interpersonal skills. If you were representing your company abroad, how should you behave? Correct form, which is all about how you address other people, making introductions. We cover dress codes. So that there's a myriad of topics to enable people to be more confident in their day-to-day lives. It's all about offering people that extra confidence in dealing with, people at work, professionally or socially. You know what to do if you're attending a work event, going for weddings, what's the correct etiquette, the dress codes, invitations, how do you handle invitations? There's just so much that we can touch on, and all that just helps people to be more confident. It gives that professional polish as well. And for children, it definitely boosts their confidence in knowing how to behave in public places, knowing how to address people older than them, behavior at school, what is right, what isn't. So just as we've been talking about social media etiquette today, that's part of what we do as well. I also offer complimentary consultations. So if people are not quite sure which topics might be useful to them, then I'm quite happy to have a chat with people, and we can see what the best topics will be to help acquire those particular skills.
Okay. So when you say you offer a free consultation, how many minutes are we looking at? Is it 15 minutes, 20 minutes, or 30 minutes, or 45?
Usually between 15 minutes and half an hour. It's never more than that, because a lot of people tend to come and say, oh, I'm going to a party, I don't know, what gift to take or what to do. And so exactly what to do. Or some would say, oh, I'm hosting a dinner or a party, what are my host duties, how do I prepare? So exactly, by the time you have that conversation, you know exactly what to recommend. So yes, it's between 15 minutes and half an hour. In terms of where to contact me, I'm on Instagram at polishedmanners.co.uk. I'm on Facebook as well. And I also have a website, which is polishedmanners.co.uk. So there are a number of ways to get in touch with me.
Wow. Thank you very much for this. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you very much for tuning in today. I hope you find this very episode useful. And if you have any question regarding to this, you can always DM me. And if you would like to contact Mrs. Laura Akano, I will leave our details below, and you can always reach out to her if you have any topic. If you have any question. Lastly, let me know what parts you find really useful in this video by leaving a comment. Also, feel free to share it with friends that you think will find this very useful as well. So, thank you very much once again, and hope to see you in our next episode. And remember to be kind and be patient. See you next time. Cheers and goodbye. Thank you very much. Cheers.